Well, good evening, friends. I'm meteorologist Vin Crosby from the Weather Show at Vin Crosby. Thanks for joining me here with our live stream and an update on Dorian. So I'm going to switch my satellite imagery back towards the eastern hemisphere of the country. Look at that global picture there. You can clearly see where Hurricane Dorian is. Look at the eye on that thing. That thing's just ginormous as the sun sets across much of the west now, and we zoom in here down in towards the southeastern United States to see the latest on the eye and the development of Hurricane Dorian. That thing has been a big pain, obviously, with the devastation down in the Bahamas, but right now it's bearing down on the southeastern United States, and you can see that streaming right in through there. So these are the last 12 images, and you can see now starting to get a little bit better organized. A big old eye has formed, and now we're starting to see the convection or thunderstorms wrap around that eye and head on in towards, it looks like, the Charleston, South Carolina area. This is forecast to do a number and come on up. As a matter of fact, let me do a little drawing for you. This is forecast to come up real close to the coast and then kind of do one of these numbers based on what the Hurricane Center forecast track is. There's a lot going on, though, in the atmosphere and some things that we got to be concerned with. The first and foremost thing is obviously the storm is very large, and the wind fields are going to start penetrating and getting inland. As a matter of fact, let's go and check out some observations from that area. And let me zoom out and head out of Boise and down across the plains. There we go. And most of the wind speeds and the gusts are up around tropical storm force. You can see out here on this buoy, this is a 45-mile-per-hour wind gust. And so with the center way down in through here, now you get a little closer inspection with this buoy. This is just offshore of, looks like Sepulveda Island, yeah, by Brunswick. You can see that is 67 knots right there, 67 knot wind, 40 knots sustained coming in from the north. So that's a pretty good wind, pretty good surge is going to be happening here in these inlets. The ocean water, gets pushed with the wind, and boy, I've experienced it. It is not a pretty thing. Let's go up here towards Beaufort. You can see, gusts of winds around 17. So really, as we head up towards Hilton Head, South Carolina, and continue going up, towards Charleston, South Carolina, wind speeds really not a whole lot right now, but they are going to change, obviously, as the hurricane keeps pressing on towards the north and the east. Let me go and take a look at the high-resolution forecast. I'm going to make sure that I've got it on here. It doesn't look like I do, so I'm just going to go do it right through here. Boom, boom. So this is just a great product. It's one of my favorites. And we can go down into the southeastern United States and get a radar update, if you will. And it looks like the very latest is out. So let's go in and take a look at a loop of this storm, of where this update over the next several hours is really taking Dorian. So let's stop it right there. And that's the very latest. The time frame on this is looks like a 12-hour forecast. So this is going to be right around the early morning hours back in the east. Looks like around 7-8 o'clock in the morning, and you can see right where that storm system is. Comes right on in close to South Carolina. Let's go in for a closer look. Kind of above my head, isn't it? All right, so there it is. Here's Charleston, and there's the eye of the storm. Plenty convection wrapped around the center of the storm, so it's going to be a strong Category 2. May pulse up to a weak Category 3. You notice these bands, though, coming on shore. These are tremendous, these feeder bands. I don't like this map. I'm going to go back and see if we can get a little better area with the United States map. Yeah, so that I can zoom in on this a little bit better. Even though the resolution does look kind of cruddy. So yeah, this takes it out to, this goes 24 hours out. So this is a little bit longer forecast. So let's have some fun with this and go back to right about here. And that should be tomorrow morning. Yeah, this is right around the early morning hours. On Thursday morning, if I go in for a closer look now, we get a better picture of where this thing's going to be. So this is right around the morning hours. You can see that storm system with the bands coming on in towards North Carolina, around Curie Beach, back down towards Wilmington. This is where I covered a hurricane way back, and this is me on the cover of a book I wrote about the storm surge. You can find it on Amazon. That's yours truly, in the high-level winds that they'll be experiencing here as this thing rolls up the coast. But Charleston, Myrtle Beach here, you're probably getting, close to hurricane force winds as the eye gets this close towards land. And then let's go back and see if it'll let me do some forwarding. Yeah, I guess it will. And let's see what time we're at now as it comes up the coast. Yeah, that's going to be pretty devastating right there. If that verifies that forecast track as it comes up towards Hilton Head, South Carolina, and gets back up going towards Wilmington, this time frame is around 16Z, so about just around noontime or just around the midday hour. That looks like we'll be getting the best storm surge around Hilton Head right in this curve as it rolls up the coast. Here's your center of low pressure, and then the counterclockwise winds sending the surge and the winds right into that culvert. Boy, it's going to be real there. So expect a 5-foot surge, maybe a little bit higher in there, and that should bring down those sand dunes and houses right along the immediate coast. There should be some flooding and coastal flooding in those areas. And then right up through here, notice these bands, these spiral bands of feeder clouds. That's probably where we'll see maybe isolated tornadoes, possibly, as the bands go back in towards Raleigh, North Carolina, around Wake County, down towards Johnston County and Goldsboro, starting to see some pretty heavy rains. And then as I give this a little bit clicks in the future, go about 4 hours, and now you can see the eye rolls on up towards Wilmington and the Wrightsville Beach area, really dumping a lot of rain around Myrtle Beach and going on up towards the South Carolina, North Carolina border. Tremendous amount of thunderstorm activity and feeder bands coming on in across much of Norfolk, Virginia, just south of Lynchburg, and then getting up around Wake County. But these are the bands that you have to look out for the isolated tornadoes and waterspouts back through the Albemarle and Pamlico Sounds. There's going to be a tremendous amount of surge coming on in from the southeast back towards the northwest, getting right in through here. So I was right in there where my mouse is back in 1996 for Hurricane Bertha, which this is very similar to. Strength-wise, strong 1, weak category 2. By this time it should be around a 1 or a 2. But even with the weakness of it, it does a lot of damage. I mean, I was amazed at just how many homes were decimated by that storm, and sand dunes and roads wiped away. I know we've seen some of the horrific pictures out of the Bahamas, but don't let your guard down, folks, in North Carolina, especially around the Hatteras area. Only one way on, one way off that place. And so I'm sure they're probably doing some evacuations there as the storm will continue to roll up towards the northeast. Now, let's go and take it a couple of steps further. And now, this is 22Z. So we're looking right around the 5, 6 o'clock hour. Maybe 7 o'clock hour going down in towards North Carolina, and you can see the eye of the storm comes up right towards Wilmington. Boy, this is almost a repeat performance last year at this time when we had the big hurricane come up through the coast there and cause all kinds of flooding, right? Notice the bands are persistent back towards Wake County, going down towards Fayetteville, getting on over towards Goldsboro. All this will just add up with lots of rain coming on through the region. And as we click right towards, see if we can get up there. Yeah, look at that. So here's a very disturbing kind of position of the storm center because all the water is real warm, and with the warm water, that's where we're going to have some issues. And so this is right around 8 p.m. in the evening Eastern time, and you can see the center of the eye still very, very defined. Very defined, and a good storm surge is going to happen through Curie Beach. I saw Johnny Mercer's pier come down once, and the Curie Beach pier come down right before my eyes. I read about that in my book that you can find on Amazon, Rain, Snow, and Hell. It was pretty nasty. And then notice all the rain and the thunderstorms coming on through the Albemarle and the Pamlico Sounds. This is just going to be real nasty in through here, with a pretty good chance that those red dots you see there could cause tornadoes as they come on through. So that's certainly something we want to watch out for. I'm not seeing my red. I'm going to make sure my mic's working. Check, 1, 2. Hello. All right, I think it is working. All right, good deal. Now we'll go back to regular scheduled programming. I always wanted to say that. Let's go and take another look, though, as this comes on up to the Mid-Atlantic states. Let's call up that map area, and I'm going to zoom on out here. And southeast, south central, I think that's what that's saying. Let's see if that gives me a little bit better perspective here at the 0Z run. And this is one of my favorite computer forecast models of all time. It's new, it's just amazing. No, that's not what we want. Come on, Crosby. What are you doing? What do we have here? Washington, Baltimore, Atlanta, Georgia, South Carolina. Nah. North Central, Northwest. Oh. All right, let's go back to the Southeast, even though I don't really like this map. And I want to show you a different perspective on it. And I want to take this back here to just the last hour, because it'll give us more product out in time. Yeah, it looks like 18 hours going in through Thursday. And let's go and take a look at and see some of the winds with this thing, because this is pretty impressive, the scope size of the storm. So I'm going to do a 10 meter wind gust, and this will give us an idea of just how windy and where those wind gusts will be down in the southeastern United States. You can clearly see the eye of the storm, and you can see the colors in there moving on up. So let's go and do some stoppage here. Boom. And that time frame really does a number here. So this is in the morning hours, just after sunrise. This looks like 15Z. So we're coming in around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Notice the colors white, purple, and the blues there. And if we come on down here, you get white and purple here, and then you get up into the blues. This is in knots. And so your hurricane force winds are 64 knots or higher. So right around this shade of blue, 65. And you can see we're in right along the coast here, Myrtle Beach, going up towards South Padre Island, back on up here in towards Wilmington. We are clearly in the whites, getting into the darker shades of blue, and then the light shade of blue going on to that color of green. Now we're up here, we're going up towards 70 and 75 knots of wind. So that's about 85 miles per hour in the wind gust. Certainly some hurricane force wind gusts there. And then the purples all the way on up here. Again, this is going in towards the morning hours tomorrow. That pink and purplish color is 40 to 45 knots of wind. So we're looking around 45 to 55 mile per hour winds with this. And so you can see that's enough to do some damage. And with all the rains coming on through and those loblolly pines, how the roots go out horizontal, that's when we'll start to see them all come down on power lines, and power should be out. But real good wind depiction there of the storm as it continues pressing towards the east and the northeast. And there's a good picture of that eye getting a little bit better concentrated. So it looks like this thing could pulse up to be a strong Category 2 as it rolls on up towards Wilmington, North Carolina. The water temperature is certainly warm there. And you can see the whites and the blues embedded most of the hurricane force winds just here, right along the coast. I just realized that this wind field is behind my head. I'm sorry about that. Come on. I'm showing you all this great stuff and blocking it with my big old dome. That's not fun. Oh man, sorry. But here, let's. I'll bring it up a little better perspective here for you, and I'll get it out over in the center. There you go. I guess I could minimize the screen. Let's see if this. Let's play around here. Give me a second. If I bring this over here, and do, look at that. Oh yeah, using a noggin. All right. So here's South Carolina, and here's Wilmington, North Carolina, right up through here. And so this is the eye of the storm. The blues, the light blues going into the green, that's where you have pretty much the 75 knot winds or 85 mile per hour gusts. Right in through there, that's the gust to hurricane force. So you can see that does get a pretty good chunk of northeastern areas of South Carolina, and that will roll on up into North Carolina as we go on through. So let's go and get another map up. And let's talk about some rainfall. So the rainfall, how much rain is going to fall, 1 hour total accumulated precipitation. So this one should be pretty much off the charts. So let's stop it and find out where I'm at. All right. So this is going into the early afternoon hours, and you can see there is pretty good oranges in there, and that correlates to 5 to 10 inches of rain. So there you have it. That's a lot of rain, folks, in a short amount of time. So the rainfall is just going to keep dumping in these areas hour after hour and accumulating. So right in this darker shade here, that's between 10 and 15 inches of rain. That's getting close to the coast, and then 5 to 10 inches of rain from Charleston all the way back to Myrtle Beach. You can probably extend all this all the way up in towards southeastern areas and eastern areas of North Carolina as the storm unfolds and continues to press towards the north and the east. Pretty phenomenal stuff. All right, let me go and let's go check out some radars. And the radar sites back down in the southeast will be showing clearly where the center of the storm is, and moving in towards the north-northwest. Pretty good bands of rain back in through here right now. Let's go in and check out the Charleston, South Carolina radar site. Now you can see some pretty good stuff here. This showing bands coming on through much of Charleston, going up over in towards Hilton Head Island, and then coming on down in towards, looks like that's 95 right down through there. So that gets in towards, let's see if I can get out there, yeah. So that's Georgia. And that's some pretty good rains coming in. So here's the eye wall, the center. Let's see how much rainfall storm total we have down here. So you can see the heaviest bands, 8 inches of rain out over the ocean waters. Right along the coast, looks like it's starting to get into some yellows, where you get the greens and the yellows getting into around 1 to 3 inches of rain. So certainly not a lot there just yet, but it's just going to keep coming. It's not going to stop. And as we go up towards the northeast, this is into North Carolina, we can see most of the heavy rain still offshore. So there you have it. Let's see what the Hurricane Center is doing with this storm. That's my observations. What did I do with NHC? Let's go to NHC. You know, they did a tremendous job with the track of this thing. Look at that, Tropical Storm Gabrielle out here. But there's Dorian. Let's go and check out the latest on Dorian and their forecast track. So the forecast still takes Dorian right up along the coast. You know, there's things that are happening in the models that I think that may be troublesome for my friends up in New England in the days to come. So there's a thing in the atmosphere called retrogression, and where the pattern kind of goes a little bit from east to west based on the overall global wind pattern. And there's a hint of that. This could pull the weather pattern a little bit further west, slow it down. One of the models here, computer forecast model, that was for my friend over in Europe. I was doing a forecast there. So let's show you the Northeast here in 3 days. And so if I go back a couple of clicks, 48 hours and 2 days, you can see this storm system is a little bit more towards the west. And this thing right here coming in north of my head, up above my head, is supposed to kick it towards the east. Well, the problem will be if that is a little bit more towards the west, which it really could be, then this storm system comes closer to New England. And that's what we need to look out for. I kind of wish they had the cone back towards getting southeast of New England, just to be on the safe side. And maybe they'll make that adjustment as the models unfold for the next couple of days. But there it is there. This is decimating. Let's go into just a single map. So let's do this. Let's some wind barbs here. That did nothing for me. So here you can see the storm kind of rolling on up to the northeast, and then if I go out towards 60 hours from now, I missed 60 and hit 57. And now you can see this storm system, you know, pretty offshore, but still some winds, hurricane force, tropical storm force winds coming in towards Cape Cod, back down towards Point Judith and getting out over Block Island. If this thing is a little bit more west, you can see southeastern areas of New England would get kind of clipped with this thing. This particular model is taking it off towards the northeast though, and will continue to do that over the next couple of days. Maybe this is not out to 3 days. Oh, you know what? I'm in the global model. Come on. Just not pushing the right buttons. This is a little bit better representation. Notice how big that is and how close it is to Cape Cod, getting up to the Gulf of Maine. That's why I'm a little concerned with this thing. And now here we go. You know, you can see it a little bit better. Maybe you can't because my dome's in front of it. Let's come out over here. So New England up and through here, and then the strongest portion of the storm staying offshore. The problem is, again, if it stays a little bit, you know, towards the west. So that's kind of what I'm concerned with. And there you can see this giant, giant eye. Hurricane Dorian in all its glory. Pretty wild stuff. Don't envy all those folks there, that's for sure, but it's exciting covering it prior to and during if you're into the media, but boy, afterwards it just is awful. It's just terrible. Many years of cleanup coming across much of the Bahamas too because of this storm. Look at that distinct eye though. Absolutely phenomenal. From a meteorological perspective, of course. Devastating. We don't like them when they hit landfall because it causes a mess A mess, a mess, a mess. All right, so yeah, I don't even know if this is live or not. I think it's live on YouTube. I sure hope it's live. That would have been not fun if you came on over from Facebook when I advertised if it was a live feed and it's not. Alrighty. Oh, here's Facebook here. Mookie Betts had 2 home runs tonight, and friend Paul Hartley from Rhode Island, longtime friend, is a Yankees fan. Did he finally get a hit? Oh, let's type a nice reply. Watch out, baby. If they make the wild card, the Yankees are going down. That'll get some stuff flying around on the old Facebook post. All right, I really have nothing else to talk about. Had a great time seeing my daughter in a game yesterday at volleyball. That was real fun. And got to see my stepchildren for the first time in a long time. Talked to them for the first time in a long time. Got to see their young ones. So things are good in my world. Get to go back to work tomorrow, but just ugly. Ugly down here in the southeastern United States. And look at that. There's some good buoy information there. Gives you an idea of just how strong these winds are way out in advance of the center. I mean, here's Wilmington right in through there, right? And then the buoys offshore, that's a 47 knot gust there. So that's some pretty good stuff. Now, this is that beach I was at. I was at Curie. This is where I saw a landfalling hurricane right there. And I saw the Curie Beach Pier come on down. So this is where they'll be getting hammered. And then, of course, Carolina Beach, and then up towards Wilmington. And Johnny Mercer's Pier. Surf City got hammered pretty hard too. Topsail Beach. I remember doing all these cleanup stories in through here. They know the routine. They know what's coming. Sneed's Ferry, Emerald Island, all this area here. Atlantic Beach, Morehead City. I've been through there. All this will get just ugly stuff. All these Outer Banks areas. Cape Lookout. If that storm takes the path that we think it's going to take, going right on up over this area through the Pamlico Sound and all that area in North Carolina, New Bern, going to be ugly. A lot of trees and power lines down, and that's what's coming. So that was my update on Hurricane Dorian. I'll try to do another one maybe tomorrow night as this thing rolls up the coast. But there it is in all its glory. That thing's a big one. And with all the warm waters and the water temperatures out through there, it's going to maintain its strength. It's going to come right on up over these areas here. So again, the forecast track taking it very close to land, right in through here. Probably going to just brush right on up and through here. My concern is later on, once it gets past out here in the Pacific, the Atlantic. Tell it's late out here in the West Coast. So once it gets out here in this area here, and if this system is a little bit west back out here, that's supposed to pick this thing up and kick it out to sea. If this thing goes back a little bit, watch out. That'll open the door for these areas right in through here to get some strong tropical storm winds, and then maybe some hurricane force winds out here on Cape Cod, back towards Martha's Vineyard. All right, talked to Judy Crosby today. She's up here in Rhode Island. Talked about the storm. She says it's going out to sea. But I will say this. You want to see spectacular waves, New Englanders. You want to see some fun stuff. There's going to be some huge waves back up in New England and back up around those areas. Don't go in the surf. Don't go near the surf. But yeah, you'll get some 30-footers easy, or footers out there in New England and the Northeast. All right. What else is going on out there? Let's go west. Let's take a look out to the west. And yeah, we're going to get some changes out here too. Change the satellite picture. Yeah, so you can see this thing kind of getting organized out here. So as this area low pressure here kind of gets organized, and then its front, eventually it's going to ride up over this ridge and come on down. And so that will get rid of some of the hot air that's in place. It is pretty warm over the next couple of days. So that's the weather show with Vin Crosby. Hey, down in the around my head, I think it's around my head, I added a subscribe button. If you could subscribe, that would be fantastic. Have your friends and family subscribe. It'll help yours truly get some sponsors and not be terribly hungry. I'm thankful for my daily bread. Let's just say that. When you lose everything, just to eat and having a nice place to sleep is I'm very thankful for that. Took it for granted for all those years. You have yourself a great night. I am going to go work on a big project. I mean, talking huge project I've been working on, and I'm very excited about it. So I'm going to go do some work on that. I'm so excited about this project that I even bought CoverGirl 155. No joke. Getting the makeup back on, like the old TV days. This is serious stuff, folks. Serious stuff. You be safe out there. Thoughts and prayers for the folks in the Southeast. Let's see how the old Red Sox are doing, though. Let's see how we're doing. We holding on, I hope. Mookie. Did he get another one? Did Mookie hit another one? Oh, he had 4 RBIs, by the way. 4 RBIs. Red Sox. He's got 4 hits. 4 hits! Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What's this thing? Get that out of there. I don't want no ads there. Mookie, 5 RBIs for Mookie Betts and 4 hits. Did he have any other home runs? 2 home runs. Just an amazing night. We need this one. Red Sox still have a chance. There's, the pulse is real low, but we have a shot. Maybe make the playoffs. Wouldn't that be something? All right, so there's the latest on Dorian. Let's see what the Hurricane Center has for Dorian's winds. Yeah, 110. Sustained at 110. Just, that's very strong, Category 2. On the, cusp of maybe going to a 3. We'll see. 115 would do it. So we're getting there. Pretty wild stuff. Hurricane coverage. Like I said, I'd like to see this cone go a little bit back towards the west. I really think this thing could come up a little bit closer to the coastal areas of New England. But look how fast it moves. It's been moving so slow. 2 p.m. Friday, it's like right here off Hatteras. Saturday, it's like almost up towards Newfoundland. Goodbye. I mean, Sunday, it's gone. It's almost over to England. All right. That's it, folks. I'm done with this. Nice long broadcast. If you got any comments, please let me know. And